Bruno Fernandes to stay at Man United. Here we go. He has rejected Al Hilal. The captain of Man United has said no to 700 grand a week plus bonuses. He wants to stay at Man United and fight. I'm assuming for titles and better days, if I'm honest with you. A lot of you that will be like, why has he done this? Why aren't Man United selling him? That was 100 million there to be got. But guess what? It's not going to happen. There is no green light from Bruno Fernandes, as reported by Fabrizio Romano. There is no green light from Bruno Fernandes, as per Ben Jacobs. The cat is out of the bag, and Bruno stays at Man United. Why? We will get into that. And I want to know from you guys in the comments. I want to know from all of you guys, is this a good thing? Because Cunha and Mbuemo are also on their way into the club. And it looks like we're keeping Bruno Fernandes as well as that. What on earth is going on at Man United? Welcome to the Transfer View, people. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I tell you what, a guy on this channel once said, it's all going off. He famously said, it's carnage. I can't believe it. It's all going off. It's all going off. And not only from the Brian and Mbeumo situation yesterday, we'll talk about that. There's a summer exit potential on the cards for Andre Onana. We're going to talk about all of that. But right at the top of the show, right at the top, we have to speak about our captain, because this was going to rumble on till Friday, Owen. Everyone was having their say on it. It was big on the red carpet. It was big on the full view. It's just been big. KG said yesterday, he's gone.
That's what I said as well. That's what I said as well.
He's gone. I said, this is getting too big now. He's probably going to go. And in true football fashion, the very next day, it's over. He has decided to stay. I can't believe it. I can and I can't, but let's get into it, Owen. What the hell is going on?
Yes, so at 8 o'clock this morning, we saw this. And I tell you what, Fabrizio Romano, huge credit to him, because people the last few days going, look, Ornstein bomber, Ben Jacobs bomber. Fabrizio said, I need something big. Sources. What have you got sourcing for me? What have you got for me? Have you got anything for me? So I got one for you. Bruno Fernandes. An exclusive this morning from Fabrizio. No, it wasn't it wasn't this.
Here we go.
It wasn't that. It was Bruno Fernandes has rejected the Al Hilal proposal, despite crazy contract proposal from the Saudi Pro League club. Bruno Fernandes wants to continue playing football in where?
Europe. Europe.
Man United captain wants to play at top level in Europe. Decision made. Now, a few more kind of echoing this. Ben Jacobs also said that Bruno Fernandes indeed has decided to stay at Manchester United despite a massive offer from Al Hilal. Parties held positive talks last week, but Fernandes then deliberated with his family and has opted against the move. Hilal have already been informed on this. Another report came from Florian Plettenberg, otherwise known as Florentine Plettenberg, says, as reported in our transfer update show yesterday, Bruno Fernandes has already made it clear to Manchester United in recent days he was leaning towards not moving to Al Hilal as he wants to continue playing at the highest level in Europe. I understand there was also never any advanced talks between the player and Hilal. He's still under a contract until 2027. Now, there had been rumblings and rumours, Flex, suggesting that, Bruno... his family weren't keen on it. They were the sort of the reports yesterday evening saying that whilst he was thinking about it and whilst he was weighing it up, his family weren't convinced on the move, didn't necessarily want the move. We spoke about this before. He's got young children. They've been based and born in Manchester. They go to school there, and the family is very settled there in the community. There's an interview that Bruno did. I remember watching it. I think it was with Manchester United or somewhere else. So he was sort of saying that how when he joined United, obviously, the pandemic happened really soon after that, so they never really integrated in to sort of the wider community. But sort of post-pandemic, he says, the kids, some of them were born here, and we're very settled here, and the family doesn't want to move, and he doesn't want to move. Now, then, okay, you have to look at things differently now and go, okay, so Bruno's staying, we're getting Cunha, and we're getting Mbuemo, because they're not, Mbeumo, they're not affected by any of this before you get worried that they are. So, all right, suddenly the picture then looks a little bit different. I mean, yeah, what do you make of it all?
Yeah, there's so much to break down. There's what it means afterwards, how the team's going to look, etc., etc. But let's just do the Bruno thing first, of like how significant it is that he's decided not to go, why he might have decided not to go, and and what it means. I am shocked. I am shocked, and I think I'm shocked because rightly so, I allowed myself to start sort of saying, I think he's going to go. I think like he's talking to them. He's trying to find out what's going on, and we knew it was never a definite, but it was leaning more towards him going. I don't know what Laurie Whitwell's just said. We'll check that out in a sec. And I just feel like he's basically stayed true to his word, essentially, which is that it's not about money. Like the offer, we know what's really happened from this is that we know the offer was there. We know that money was on the table. He's got till Friday to decide, and he's decided by Tuesday. You know, this isn't in the 11th hour, like sort of waiting, will he, won't he? There's been a little bit of that, but with this new deadline, he's done it quite early to say, nah, I just don't need all this. Like I'm not going. And look, there's two ways of looking at this, right? I know for a fact there's going to be fans now that will be annoyed because they would have seen Bruno as that cash cow of like, I tell you what, this is the only player we can sell for that type of money. We actually need this sale to fund other things. So they'll be annoyed. There'll be people that are annoyed because they don't rate Bruno anyway as well. And they thought they were finally going to get rid of him because he's one of the biggest problems at the club because he always gives the ball away and he's not captain material and it's fake stats and stat padder and all of this stuff. There's those people. So, and then there's a lot of other people that are going to be like, thank God we're not selling our best player. It shows how much he wants to be here. It shows that he's not just lying and just saying things in the media that he doesn't really mean. He really gets it and wants to stay here. You know, why I will never know sort of thing. You could drop that off. Wow, he's got the chance to get that generational wealth, but he still wants to play at Man United. And in that thing that Fabrizio said there, that he wants to play at the top level, wants to play in Europe, etc. Again, it's got to be careful with that term because he ain't, is he? He's not playing at the top level. He's playing in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. He's playing at one of the biggest clubs in the world, but you're on mute. He is definitely not.
It's the definition of Europe, isn't it? It's like he wants to play in Europe. He's physically playing in Europe. But he's not in European competition. You know what I mean?
No,
so it's kind of one of those ones.
And obviously Bruno sees it as, I don't want to move. And of course, the family situation. We all as football fans can say, oh, it's the perfect way to rebuild the squad and this, that, and the other. But, you know, as Ben Jacobs says, he was deliberating with his family. And out of that outcome, it was a very quick no. So we have no idea what would have happened behind the scenes and the true reason why. We can only assume. And clearly, Bruno has always said he wants to stay. And has always said it's not about money. That's just a fact of what he's told us. And secondly, of course, we have to take in account that his family. And thirdly, Man United have never tried to sell him. That's what was always been the news. Man United are comfortable. There's never been a bid for Manchester United to consider. The way round this went was that if Bruno said yes, a bid would come. So listen, you can choose to cry about this. You can choose to be angry about this. Or you can choose to look forward and say, what's just happened at our club? Actually, what's happened at our club is, I said yesterday that it's a shame that we're not in a strong enough position to be like, absolutely not, no matter what the money is, we're not selling Bruno Fernandes, which is true. We're not in a position to do that. But what's just happened is our best player has said, I'm in it for the long run. I believe we're going to change. And the club has proceeded to sign Matheus Cunha, one of the best attacking players in the league. It looks as though we're about to sign Brian Mbuemo, one of the best attackers in the league, all while retaining Bruno Fernandes. This could be the best thing to ever happen to us. Could be. So over to you, Owen. I don't know. I just can't believe it. I thought that they were starting to spend the Bruno money already, if I'm honest with you. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. I mean, when Ben Jacobs reported a couple of days ago that, you know, the Al Hilal sources were confident on a deal coming together, basically, I thought, well, you know, there you go. I mean, that's, you know, maybe he's been swayed here, which again is very significant. But, you know, he did hit those rumblings last night going, the family, you know, they're not really into it. And then obviously this morning you get the big news. I think, you know, and look, I get it. I understand all sides of the argument on this one, because there are, like we said, would be those that would look at, for instance, PSG over the weekend and go, look, they got rid of some of their best players, and certainly last season with Mbappe, and they got better for it, you know, and they reinvested that money. They were spending that on more players, more team players, less individuals, and look at the success that they've had. With Bruno, you could make an argument that could have been the case. It could have been the Coutinho moment for Manchester United. Or like you said, you can look at it from the positive point of view and go, well, when we were talking about bringing in Cunha and bringing in Mbeumo and the goals that they were bringing, we had kind of said, well, you got to be careful because football doesn't work like that. And we might lose Bruno. So we lose those goals. And they sort of balance each other's out. But now we're going, well, if you keep Bruno and he keeps adding the goals that he did last season and the assists, and you add in the Cunha goals and you add in the Mbuemo goals, and then you look towards going, well, if we can get a striker, I mean, Højlund, could he go to Inter? Some are saying he doesn't want to leave, but will United push him because they don't really want to keep him? Get a goalkeeper. I mean, I think Bruno being in our squad and us adding to it, surely that only makes us better. That can only make us better. And these two signings we've done already have been without sales, and it's not as if, this is the other part of it as well. If it was like, well, without Bruno, how are we going to raise cash this summer? Then I think I'd be a bit different. But we already know a lot of players, and some of them being homegrown players, are leaving anyway. So we know Rashford's leaving. We know Sancho, he's going to be coming back, looks like, but he's going to be leaving. Anthony, going to be leaving. Garnacho, he's been told to find a new club. I mean, just Garnacho and Rashford alone, that potentially is like what? Nearly £100 million.
Yeah, plus the 100 that we got ourselves.
Yeah,
so there's your 200 million spent.
And literally, remember, with pure profit, you can times that by 3. So even then, you're looking at, that's a lot of money you can spend. Then you get into Onana could be on the way out. Then you get into Bayern could be on the way out. Then you look at, Højlund could be on the way out. So it's not as if our only attempt at raising funds this summer was going to be Bruno. If it was that, then you would go, well, I can kind of hear the sort of frustration of, well, we haven't sold Bruno, we're not going to get anyone else now. That's it. I don't think it's going to be like that, because I don't think Man United had ever really planned for that. Man United had planned to get rid of those like 8-9 players this summer and buy players based off of them. As Omar Barada said in his interview last week, they planned for a lot of different outcomes, and I'm sure many of them included keeping Bruno Fernandes. I don't think the summer plans have now just been blown up and be like, now what are we going to do? How are we going to sign any of these players? So when it comes to that, yeah, exactly. So when it comes to
no one
that,
has spoke about Malacia in about.
No,
I actually have forgot. That's a light.
Exactly.
It might be a light 5 million, but you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when it comes to that, I mean, he won the Eredivisie, didn't he, at PSV? Technically, won the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, true.
So I think keeping our players is a good thing. I get that people obviously, look, Bruno will always have his faults. Like many, was really disappointed with him in the Europa League final. He didn't show up. He didn't. And that's another big game where we needed Bruno that he didn't show up. So those questions are going to rightfully so be there. But, like we said yesterday, looking forward to a new season. The past is in the past. Having a Bruno in a team with Mbeumo and Cunha and maybe a new striker, a new goalkeeper. I'm ready to get hurt again, Fleck.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. This is where, again, after the excitement of yesterday, we got to start calming down and working out what this thing looks like. But there's a time and a place for that, and it wasn't yesterday. And it just about isn't now, but we can cross into it. Eminem says loads of super chats, guys, and members chats, about 14 to get through here. So bear with us. Eminem says, lads, Bruno saw the Cunha news and Ornstein Bomber and said, rah, finally 2 players I can feed. I ain't going anywhere. Sajid says, crazy thing is, same people who nag about Ineos and Glazer's money spendings thought all of a sudden they're going to do wonders with Bruno's sales money. Terence Pace says, in my opinion, the Bruno money would have brought in 2 to 3 players, but happy he's staying. Now we need to offload for income. Sancho wants freedom, then he best find it. WJ Barrett, big up to you, bro. And the family says, this is huge news for us, I think. We got goals galore, 3-4-1-2, and Bruno fits behind Mbuemo and Cunha. I'm buzzing and really happy for Elvis. Better days are coming. Peter says he wants to play at the top level, so he'll still go. Bonehurt says Saeed crashing out over Mr. Net Negative staying. I don't know what Saeed's doing. I'm not sure. Byron says Bruno gone means Mainu leaves, in my opinion. There you go. Is there going to be another twist to this? Sav47 says, the Bruno news is horrible for us, in my opinion, guys. He is 30. Another contract ran down. That money would have been rebuild accelerated. Shake my head. And SK, big up to you, says, I would have sold if he wanted to go, but happy anyway. People are linking Kobe going, but he's been having contract issues for months. Get the Ghana Rashi sales done and get a striker. Is that Gyökeres? Imagine that trio. Get striker Gyökeres, isn't it? Not another. No, use ST.
Yeah, I think
Gyökeres.
Gyökeres, yeah.
GJE says Bruno news is good. Competition for places helps us. And Bilal, just weird. I don't know what you mean by that. I saw that a bit earlier.
No, this guy keeps showing up all the time, and then he gets banned. It's a very weird thing.
Oh, I heard you on the show not recently said, I think you're crossing the line. I think you should get banned.
Yeah.
All right, because he said another one. I'm not going to read that as well.
No.
It's a bit weird.
Multiple.
Right.
No.
Yes. Ryan says, so you're either benching Cunha / Mbeumo, or he's a 6. We'll talk about that. And Oda says, is it any opportunities to join in on these group streams you have someday, anywhere to sign up? It's rammed at the moment. Of course, there's always different opportunities that pop up along the way of this, so watch this space. But as you could, the red carpet was bulging out the screen yesterday. Same with the full time the other day. So but shout out to you. Always look out for new opportunities, guys. And Cody Watson says, selling Marcus is our Mbappe move. Keeping Bruno is like PSG keeping Marquinhos. And fucking hell, how do you just? I'll do it myself. This idiot. I just blocked him as well. It's ridiculous. Yes. So Bruno rejecting Saudi, I think, is massive, and I don't know, man. I am trying to think also what this does mean for the team. Let's talk about that for a minute, Owen, because I have said a little while ago, or a few times, that do we need to think outside the box? Are we thinking too linear? Well, we already have to think outside the box in terms of how aggressive Man United have been in getting signings, so we didn't see that coming. But in terms of so we obviously need a striker. And I'm like, is there a world now where we see a striker that we didn't think from within, where Mbeumo's up there and Xerxes in the 10 next to Cunha and Bruno's back one, or it's Bruno and Cunha with Mbeumo up front, or Cunha up front and Mbeumo and Bruno, or do we now go and get another central midfielder to play alongside Bruno where it looks different? Like, what happens? Or is it like we have to stop thinking like this of where we've just got good players, good selection problems, competition for places, and good players?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I thought the same thing. Going, well, if Bruno stays, does that mean now that either Cunha or Mbeumo, in addition to being a 10, they could be the striker, and maybe Bruno's alongside either Mbeumo or Cunha in the 10 positions, or where does Xerxes fit? I don't know, but I kind of do echo what the super chat said earlier on. I just think, how many times have we looked at our bench this season? Either there's nobody on there because they're injured, or even when the players have been back, we turn to our bench and go, our bench is rubbish. It's rubbish. We're going to have a smaller squad anyway this coming season because we're playing less games, we're in less competitions, we're 1 game a week, and I really do think that they're going to be trimming a lot of fat, and I just don't think Bruno was ever the fat that they were really intending on trimming. I think probably the last couple of weeks, and this is why Man United, all of those reports have said, Man United are really relaxed on the situation, because they were always like, well, we haven't really planned for Bruno leaving. If so, we'll look at some other targets, which again we've got some ideas around. But they were always relaxed because, as like Florian Plettenberg was sort of saying, he was always telling them, well, to be honest, I'm really leaning towards staying unless Saudi can make me an offer I just really can't refuse. And like some people are saying in the chat, maybe Marcel was right, that 175 million. Maybe it was 175 million. That's what it was. But no, I mean, I'm not of the mindset that people are like, oh, this will be the downfall of Manchester United, because what a load of shit that is. Look at us this season. The downfall of Manchester United is when the Glazers purchased us 20 years ago. Bruno, we have to do this. Stop doing this weird thing where people that actually do contribute eventually we go, well, they must be the problem because we're so desperate to find what this mythical problem is. You know what I mean? So in the same way, it is when it comes to Mbeumo or Cunha, heaven forbid they have a bad game. This person's a problem, that person's a problem. That's why we have the reputation as we do in terms of a fan base, because yesterday when we were celebrating the Mbeumo one or the Cunha one, people were like, you're turning on them eventually. And it's because they look at sometimes our treatment of people like Bruno Fernandes going, since he came into the Premier League, I mean, the guy's got like more goal contribution than anyone, and he's still not good enough. If anything, those signings like Mbeumo and Cunha that will supplement him, hopefully should take the burden off him, and we don't have to play through him. The solution of not playing through Bruno all the time can still be a solution where we don't have to get rid of him.
Exactly. Everyone thinks they have to be mutual. He has to go, so you don't play like this anymore. D Trizzy says, Bruno stays. Said and Ricky have freak out sessions, not to be confused with the freak out. We've got 2 years of a good Bruno. And Marcus says, guys, disappointed that Bruno is staying. In my view, he does not look after the ball. That 100+ million would have been amazing for total squad rebuild. Can I just say something on the he doesn't look after the ball thing as well? And it's kind of piggyback off the back of what Owen just kind of said. What we're not allowing for is to think of the improvement of we're bringing in Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha who do look after the ball. So straight away, the team has got better. How many times have we said that? Well, also, it's not only the fact that Bruno is a bit like hot potato with the ball. It's also like the rest of the team are as well. So you don't have anyone in there really who keeps the ball fantastically well, which is why Ahmad was a breath of fresh air with the decision making and how he takes the ball. And everyone's like, that's the type of guy we want to see. That's Mbeumo, guys, as well. That's Matheus Cunha, guys. That's what we're starting to see from Joshua Zirkzee. I hold my hands up. That's him who can keep the ball and stuff like that. So if you add more players that can play in the right way, and you do have that one who takes the risks and is more of a maverick and creates chances, it's almost like you can now allow Bruno. I think what can happen by having these types of players and keeping Bruno is that it actually masks all the things that Bruno doesn't do well, because the rest of the squad level is raising. What we're not doing right now, because we're just thinking of the 100 million that we could have got to rebuild the team and him giving away the ball and arms flying up, or the reasons why you might have wanted to get rid of Bruno. We're thinking of that. Not one of us, not many of us are thinking, hang on a minute, we're raising the technical and physical level of the team by bringing in these two players. So actually, the emphasis on Bruno, or the masking of Bruno's deficiencies, actually is probably going to happen now. It's probably going to happen. So I see it as a positive instead of a hindrance. I see it as something that can help us to still have someone of the quality of Bruno, but to also have Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo.
Yeah,
we're better. We're way better straight away.
Like you were saying, it's about raising the sort of technical floor of the team.
Yeah,
isn't it? I think that's the part of it as well. You shouldn't be surprised by this, because this is always the way I think nowadays with football conversation. But there is room for nuance in this whole Bruno discussion, whereby he can, like you say, have a reduced role, or you don't have to go everything through him, whilst also keeping him and still having the positives. Because I don't think what we can't do is suddenly just be like, because people wanted him to leave, suddenly be like, well, he doesn't offer us anything. Bruno's never offered us anything, because that's not true, is it? The numbers do speak for themselves. And even at points this season, in our worst season ever, he's been at points, him and Ahmad have been, or maybe Lenny Yoro, have been points that we're like, oh, at least they're giving something. At least they're contributing something. Just because he's the captain, that doesn't mean we finished 15th because of Bruno Fernandes. It was Bruno Fernandes' fault we finished 15th. Because if we want to do it that way, then we can say, well, it's because of Bruno Fernandes then that we won the FA Cup. Because apparently it's all on him. Oh, it's Bruno. It's because of Bruno Fernandes that we won a Carabao Cup. Because everything that happens at United is all on him. It doesn't work like that way, does it? So, like you say, hopefully you would go, well, if the team around him gets better and he still contributes, that's a positive. And also, on top of that, if we've got better players and suddenly he doesn't fit because we're going forward, you can take him out of the team. You can take
exactly.
And we don't have to worry about, what happens if we take Bruno out of the team, because we've got nothing else, nobody else that can contribute. So yeah, I can understand why, like I said, some people would be say frustrated, but maybe a bit annoyed by this because they'd already maybe spent the Bruno money, and they'd already thought about the potential of getting all of these people in and what have you. But I do think it is a good thing for United, and maybe, I know it's easy to say after the fact, but a 30-year-old or 31-year-old with still a lot to give in his career, would he necessarily want to go to Saudi for 3 years? And it's a bit soon, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a bit soon.
It is. He's got years to go to Saudi. Bruno can go there in 2-3 years' time easily. Easily.
Yeah.
Obviously, he probably won't command a fee of £100 million then, but he can easily go, or he can run down his contract at United and go, or go in his last year of his contract, or whatever. He's got time. And for me, go on.
Very quickly, Ben Jacobs has just posted this about Bruno, quite a lengthy post actually, saying more on Bruno Fernandes turning down Al Hilal following advanced talks. Productive meetings took place last week in Riyadh, and Hilal thought the terms of an agreement were close, which is what was reported previously. However, Fernandes made it clear he wanted time to discuss the move with his family, and further talks also took place with Manchester United. Ruben Amorim's public comments that he wanted Bruno to stay were also reiterated privately to the Manchester United captain. Manchester United were always waiting for a bid, but this was never going to arrive until Fernandes, or unless Fernandes said yes, is what he said to you. As a result, United's perspective is no formal negotiations ever took place, even though they were aware of Hilal and were prepared to pay an excess of €100 million and potentially closer to €120 million. Hilal president Fahad bin Nafel believed Fernandes was sold on the football project, but no final answer was given last week in Riyadh. Instead, Fernandes was given a deadline of Friday at the latest to communicate his decision. And after talks this weekend with his family, he decided to turn the offer down. So it didn't even, like you said, Flex, he didn't even get to Friday.
Didn't even get to that. And remember when I was saying as well, I did say, even though I'm not going to do I told you so, because I was in the camp of thinking he was going to leave too. But I did say, Al Hilal believing that what did they say? That an agreement's close. They believe. Yeah. They believe. I said, and I was like, well, you can believe what you want. It doesn't mean that. You know what I mean? That's just them. Their representatives coming out of the meeting going, "How'd that go?" Then you go, "I'll tell you what." Agent was nodding his head, saying, "Good wages. I think Bruno could look at that. Okay, relocation package. I'll put that to Bruno. I think he likes that. It's just." The conversation,
Fleck. That's why people get ghosted after dates. Yeah. You go, I tell you what, I think it went really well. I think it went really well. I think she really likes me. And then you go 2 weeks later. So you got to go see her again. Never call me back. Never call me back. Why? Because in her perspective, it didn't go great. Like you said,
exactly.
But belief can be one thing, but what is the reality?
The reality. What's the reality? And the reality is that yes. Don't get us wrong. We're not rubbishing it now. He's staying, saying it was never real. Absolutely not. This was real, and all of the stuff that Ben Jacobs is saying, and all of the info that's coming out. Obviously, it's real. Meetings took place. His agent was there, but we have to sift through in it, right? Like you say, sifting for gold, and it's like some of it sticks and some of it doesn't. The fact of the matter is that no bid ever came in. So Man United never had a decision to make. They've never had a decision to make as of yet. The only decision they had to make was whether they wanted to try and force him out and shop around for him. And they made that decision ages ago that they weren't going to do that. So that was never a thing. Bruno Fernandes being shopped around and being on the transfer market was never a thing. It was only if someone came to Bruno and obviously his status at the club, and who he is, if he came to the board and said, I've accepted a contract from Al Hilal, then Man United would say, right, we'll wait for the bid to come and we'll negotiate. But that never was the case. So, yeah, I think Ben Jacobs, he sums it up, which is, we all know this now. That's that. And it goes with what Ruben was saying. Obviously, he says, I don't know because it's football. But he was like, Bruno saying no to a lot of things. That was his quote. He said, I want the best players here. I think he will stay. And what did he say? At the moment, he's saying no to a lot to things. Yeah, so he must have been in the know then that he's kind of said no to that. He's no to this.
Last game, few nights, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like you said, he can never know with football.
But his feeling was always that no. And he was very vocal and I want him here. And the Madrid one, that was rubbish. I told him he's staying here. He's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that was Madrid.
Exactly. So there you go. So that's one staying and Flex, one incoming in Brian and Mbeumo.
One incoming. Exactly. Let's get the super chats out and the likes and see where we're at. before we do that, there you go. JD United View Day 1 says, big up Flex and King Owen, morning UV family. I'm 50-50 on this. Happy he's staying, but we could have used the money for a striker and a few new players. Yeah, they're going to have to get creative. That's what we all agree with. And El Cap says 120 million for a 31-year-old, and we want to do sentiments. My heart can't take this anymore. Now we desperately need a 6 who can pass and progress the ball. That's what we needed anyway. That's what, whether Bruno leaves or stays, it's not now we need that. El Caps, I've been saying that for a hot minute. We came back with Ugarte, and I know some people have tried to flip the narrative and say, oh, Man United fans cried out for someone who can tackle and got by it, and now he's here, you want to get rid. No, that's at the expense of, like, he's too limited that side of the game. So you're going to need someone. You can probably operate next to a high operator, but, you know, we've always needed a thoroughbred 6 who can dictate play and tackle and get about the part. It needs to be good at everything. That's what we need.
If you watch the football Flex, when we watched the Champions League final, the amount of times that Flex was like, well, we need an arm midfield. We need people that can pass the ball. We need technical people. This is what we need. This is what we need. Till you're blue in the face, Fleck. Till you're blue in the face.
Exactly. But right, and likes wise, we are at 572. So big up to you guys, man. We've got nearly 2.5K watching. Let's get to 1K, people.
Yes.
Yeah, because Bruno Fernandes is staying, the captain. We're about to talk about Mbuemo bid imminent. And just get the likes up, guys. It's transfer season. Right, let's move on. Bryan Mbeumo looks like he is on his way to Man United, and a bid is imminent. Now, that was the breaking news yesterday. And one thing I do have to say, all of a sudden, rival fans out the woodwork, Newcastle United fans, can't believe he's not chosen us. Does he not realise where he's going? Arsenal fans, Man United ain't got Paul. What, signing players from Brentford and Wolves, respectively? Hold on a minute. Last time I checked, Arsenal fans, you signed Declan Rice from West Ham. You signed Leandro Trossard from Brighton. You signed Ben White from Brighton. You signed David Raya from Brentford. So what are we talking about here? All of a sudden, when Man United do it, we're 15th. We're awful. We have to try and buy players to get out of the situation we're in. But guess what? Man United aren't allowed to buy players. And especially 2 players who, let's be real, if they did go to better teams like Liverpool, like Newcastle United, like Arsenal, guess what? Like Chelsea, you lot would all be waxing lyrical. Great buy. Mbeumo, what a signing. Opportunistic signing from Brentford. Oh, great buy, Matheus Cunha, one of the best 10s in the league. So, listen, yeah, we've got a track record for destroying players. I'm not saying we don't. But don't act like Man United haven't got any pull anymore. Because basically, this shows that we do. Because 2 of the best players in the Premier League, fact, want to come to Man United when they're 15th and have no European football and have got absolute money problems and mice droppings at the stadium. So argue with them. Don't argue with United fans. Leave us alone. Like Liverpool fans once said about Trent, you can't tell us how to feel. You don't support the club, so we don't care what you think. Rant over. Because these lot pissing me off. They are.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, let's get this news out of the way, because with the Mbeumo stuff, there's so much.
Yeah,
and some are worried about, with the Bruno stuff, will affect it? It will not. Right, let's get into all of this. So, Ben Jacobs saying that Bryan Mbeumo is giving priority to Manchester United, as David Ornstein called last night. As Flex said, a formal bid is expected to follow up soon, with Brentford seeking around £50 million. This has been the asking price for Mbeumo for really ever since the beginning of May, where Thomas Frank said, yeah, he could go. He's only got a year left. They do have an option on him, but the expectation is he's going to leave this summer. As previously reported, so hat tip to Ben Jacobs here, European football next season isn't a deal breaker for Mbeumo, and he seemingly is sold on the Manchester United project following talks in May. Now, this one continues with Florian Plettenberg saying the same thing. Manchester United want to start negotiations with Brentford shortly in order to finalise the deal for Bryan Mbeumo. The player has already given his approval. Verbal agreement is already done. Manchester United are optimistic that the transfer will go through. It would be their second statement signing in attack after Matheus Cunha. Interestingly, as for maybe why he sold on the project, a reporter, Jay Harris from The Athletic, also saying that Bryan Mbeumo supported Manchester United as a child. Maybe similar, Flex, to the Cunha situation, whereby, look, it's about the badge. It's about the shirt. The Manchester United pull is still there. It's still alive and kicking, just about. Some other things this morning. Ben Jacobs, once again, just kind of reaffirming anyone's concerns or anything like that are not accurate. Bruno Fernandes' rejection of Al Hilal does not have any bearing on the expected bid for Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo. Although Al Hilal took talks to an advanced stage before Bruno Fernandes turned the offer down, Manchester United never had an approach or bid, and the early window business is entirely independent of Fernandes.
Very important, that. Very important.
Yeah, exactly. Naturally, several outgoings will still prove important across the summer due to multiple other priority positions to strengthen him, which we'll get into later on. But crucially, the Cunha deal, the Mbeumo deal, nothing to do with Bruno. There was maybe this feeling yesterday that this actually signified maybe that the Bruno deal was going to happen. That's why we'd gone from Mbeumo, and that's why we'd got this green light, we got this cash. No, it's entirely independent. And Darmesh is also reporting this morning from Sky saying that Manchester United are expected to approach Brentford this week over the side of Bryan Mbeumo. Of course, we've got, 7 days left of this current transfer window. Of course, was it called, Flex, the exceptional transfer window before the Club World Cup? So I would assume the hope would be from Manchester United, let's get this one announced within the next 7 days. Let's get this done in the next week. Let's get this done before the 10th. That's 2 names, and that means that the moment that training starts, or the moment the next part of the window opens, these are already done, and we're spending the next bit about outgoings, and then looking at possibly bringing in more names. But this bid for Mbeumo is indeed imminent, Flex.
Can I do I actually look like him? Like, I'm actually being serious now. It's a real thing. Do I actually, or is it that because obviously you put the face there, that just makes it that I look like him? But this is no effect. You know me.
You never grow your beard that long.
I don't think I could. It's too patchy and grey.
And now, I was gonna say, people do mention the greys. You know what I mean? I don't know. You can get some just for men. Maybe some. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just the smoothness of which the face does go into his.
It's quite. Yeah,
it's very. Smooth.
We'll keep it as that. We'll keep it as that. Like, it is what it is. And definitely, and actually, for content purposes now, I'm happy to ride.
Well, and also as well, like when he signs, we'll be like, we've got an exclusive transfer reveal, and it's just going to be you turning around in a Man United shirt.
Yeah, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice for a full circle moment if we get the chance to interview him or catch up with him on tour, or just things like that. We've got to get that.
Well, if you see it on tour, it'll be like the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who knows? We might even be able to get. I might go. Listen, Brian. Long story, but I'm going to tell you this, bro. Our community think I look like you. I don't see it, bro. Can we just get a little Spider-Man thing? I promise you that I will try to do that if he comes. But let's Flex. Again, this is why people talk about Man United fans being deluded. He's not even signed yet, and I'm talking about what pictures I'm going to do with him on tour. So let's let's chill.
But you're right, Flex, because look, and you mentioned it when you were saying there a minute ago about obviously opposition fans' reaction. Look, our reaction to the Ornstein bomber last night on the red carpet went viral. I think it's nearly got like 1 million views.
Has it?
Yeah, on X. And do you want to know something mad with it, Flex? This is when I always get embarrassing things. Rival fans are salty. Yeah, this is when rival fans are very, very salty. So it's got again 1 million views. Over close to 8K in terms of likes. Bookmarks, Flex, 2K bookmarks.
2K
bookmarks.
Okay.
That is 2,000 opposition fans, right? And they can also say, well, I'm saving this for a rainy day. I'm saving this. I'm saving that. But I also saw those same opposition fans doing the bloody hell. How's he done that? How's he? Because as I said, rejected Arsenal, rejected Spurs, rejected Newcastle, and I saw all the same people that want to be like, oh, Man United in the mud, Man United in the mud. The reason they're projecting, oh, these guys never learn, they never learn, it's because they're still stunned that people want to join us, and they're embarrassed for themselves, going, how are we getting turned down from Man United in 2025 after their season that they've had? They still can't handle it. And Mbeumo, he's got wasted his career now. That's what he's done, Flex. He's wasted his career. He should have gone to Newcastle. He should have done this. He should have done that. He should have done that. Where was the same energy when it was Delap choosing Chelsea over us? Was there a lot of that? I tell you what, I'm bookmarking all of those tweets of Chelsea fans that they're happy. I'm bookmarking them. Look, a lot of United fans were like, I don't give a shit. I understand. We're rubbish. Don't worry about it, mate. You know. But then, heaven forbid, after a terrible season, we have something, even just for now to celebrate.
Yeah.
Just even for now.
And listen, look, in all honesty, 100%, when the dust settles and like, obviously there's going to be a here we go, you know, then we'll get excited again, then Bruno signs and release it, etc., etc. Listen, we all know, if we're being honest and realistic, we do have to keep calm. There's so much to fix. That's, you know, 2 starters in, it seems. You know, we've got a lot of work to do. What's going on with these outgoings? It's still very early, though. That's why we can be excited. Still very early. So we're not deluded enough to think that, like, listen, I will annoy people on purpose, because outside of the house, that's what we have to do. We have to defend the badge. So I've been in group chats to my Arsenal fans and stuff like that, friends and that, saying we're back. You know, I've said, you know, we're United with a Y.
I saw that you posted that last night.
Yeah. I will do that. You know, I went straight on the phone to Harry Pinero. I'll tell you what I said to him. Harry Pinero, I said, Harry Pinero, we are back. He said, I'm not doing this just yet. I said, do it. And then he put, I said, do it. And then he puts the Henri.
The Henri.
So listen, I messaged Culture Cams. I said, we are back. He just put a load of laughing emojis, because he's definitely not going to fall for that. But listen, the excitement, I'm on Instagram, I'm giving it, you know, shout out Matty Renton. He tried it, you know, look at it, because Matty Renton's slogan is there's only one United. There's only one United. You know,
I saw AGT try it as well.
AGT tried it.
You lot. You know, look at them. You know. Shout
out Grizz. He's laughing his head off. Bookmarked. But again, this is what I find really funny, right? I heard talks, and this was just hypothetical talks. Obviously, it didn't happen. I heard things like,
with you, it's a bit more it's a bit more personal as well, because I feel like you wished this one into existence as well.
I did
several months ago. That's why people are going, why is Flex down on his knees? Because he manifested it. Somehow he manifested it. When it was all this like Delap stuff, I remember you going, yeah, but like, or the Cunha stuff. The Cunha stuff, because it was like 62.5 million. You went, we could probably get Mbuemo for like 50, though. And it was like, Flex, come on, man. You know, come on. Just because you look like him. We do it. What does KG say? He's not on the menu. He's not on the menu. He's not on the menu.
Don't ask for things in the restaurant that they don't serve, as what I was told. And then it was, come on, Fleck. Obviously, Mateus Cunha is the better signing, because left 10, you know, already plays there, and Mbeumo's a right winger, Fleck. It's, you know, there's no point. But I was like, yeah, but am I the only one? He's only got 1 year. He's 50 million. He's wicked.
And he's a right winger. Like,
and you can tell he's adaptable. Like, he's a top player. Like, and they all laughed at me. And that is you're right, Owen. That is the real reason why. And then obviously, again, the expressions thing. He's done it from ages ago. Just like, you Fleck Mbeumo. Well, we called it Fleck Mbeumo, but he did the initial thing. When I gave him Grace Jones and Tyrone Biggums and loads of, you know, that was a great period this season, which he ended up winning because they won everything. So I lost, but I lost in a bad way. But in that moment, it was very, very funny. But he came up with that to try and get me. And I remember also we played Brentford last season and we actually beat them, and Lissandro Martinez put him in his pocket actually. And I was glad that I was out, because expressions would have been ready for me, and I came back to him. But look now, after doing that, we're signing him. Like, it's just, do you know what I mean? And guess what? He's going to score against Spurs next year. Bookmark that as well. Do you know what I mean? So for Man United. So I don't know, man. I just couldn't believe it. And yeah, back to the fans. What I was going to say is I heard hypothetical conversations, and I'm not going to go too far. I'm going to be honest with what they were. Hypothetical ones. I mean, someone like Brian Mbeumo, I mean, you know, if Liverpool signed him, that'd be good for them. Yeah. Tell you what, if Salah left, I tell you what, and Mbeumo's I tell you what, you know, Liverpool can't get like for Salah. Mbeumo would be good.
It'd be like Salah Mane again. It'd be like Salah Mane, ready for a step up.
Then it was, Owen, I tell you what, Newcastle United, Champions League football, if you're saying Anthony Gordon, Isak, and, you know, you get Jacob Murphy out of there, you put Mbeumo, I tell you what, that's frightening. But now it's, mate, you're signing a player from Brentford. So why the fuck was it all right for everyone else to sign a player from Brentford then? the top teams. And like I said, Arsenal, last time I checked, their best player is Declan Rice and Saka. But you know, influential, £105 million. West Ham, mate. David Raya, best goalkeeper in the league this year. Brentford. Ben White. All right, Timber's come in a little bit now, and you know this, that, and the other. But Ben White, top player. Trossard. So what are we doing here? Even buying players from Chelsea when Chelsea weren't great and Kai Havertz weren't having the best of time. So let's not act like buying from within the Premier League at teams that have been relegated or teams that are low down in the league. That means you're a failed big club? What the fuck are you talking about? One of Liverpool's greatest ever players inside Mane came from Southampton. Like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like Salah when he came there from Fiorentina,
Roma.
Roma. You know, like it's not like they're just doing it. That just proves they're just doing it because it's us. We're not, and this is the both sides of the mouth. And we're not allowed to sign anyone. If we sign Victor Gyökeres, bro, you idiots always doing this just because you pay the most money. He's only coming to you for money, and he's gonna fail. You're gonna ruin him, etc., etc. Not bloody hell. Man United have actually got a serious baller. We go and sign players from Wolves and Brentford. You think you got put? Mate, look at you. You get players from Wolves.
Yeah.
You know, we signed a Real Madrid bound Lenny Yoro last summer. Oh, it's because you just paid. Like we can't win.
The goalposts will constantly be moved. Imagine again when Liverpool signed Virgil van Dijk. You signed Southampton. They're like bottom of the table, and they were at the time. Like
Andy Robertson.
Robertson from Hull. We
relegated.
What are you doing that for? The reality is, and again, it's partially our fault. Don't get me wrong. It's partially our fault because our history is so bad of signing players that everyone assumes it's going to go wrong. But you're right. If it was any other club signing Cunha and signing Brian Mbeumo, they'd be like, I tell you what, if it was Chelsea, you know, Todd Boehly, he moves quick. Look at that.
Exactly.
Arsenal, it'd be like, what's their new sporting director called? I forget what his new name is. Who's the guy who replaced Edu? Someone let me know in the chat. They'd be like, he's moving fast. It'd be like, is it Berta? Something like that. He's moving quick. He means business. City, if it was City, the same way that City now, they're getting Cherky and they're going to get Reinders and whatever. They're like, look at I'm envious. I'm envious of City Flex. I'm envious. Look how quickly they're moving. Look how quickly they're getting players through the door. We're the same people in our fan base. We're saying, the players aren't happy. We're not moving quick enough. What a bunch of horse shit. I mean, it was horseshit at the it was horseshit at the time because it was like the window wasn't even open and we had already had a here we go on Cunha, so we knew we were getting him anyway. So it was already horseshit at the time. But the window has been open for 3 days. This is the third day, not even 3 days. This is the third day the window has been open, right? And Cunha has been announced. It was announced on the first day. And in Mbeumo one, they're like, well, all of the other clubs have been told basically to go away because he wants to go to United. Like verbal agreement's already done. 2. So, but we're not moving quick enough, guys. We just need to get more players through the door. Obviously, I mean, it's mad. It's mad.
It's funny. It really is. I just don't understand how. Well, I do actually. Like we say, it's hated, adored, never ignored. That's what we are, and that's why that saying was created. Hated, adored, never ignored. We can never do any right, and the attempt to get ourselves out of this mess, is going to look like this. And also, we're not piling in, we're not heaping loads of praise on Ineos yet. We haven't even gone like, we're like like I said, when we do calm down, we're like, yeah, you're damn right. We finished 15th. I want to see aggressive nature of signings. I want to see us doing things where I went, wow, you really do mean business because we're 15th, mate. We finished 15th. So
it's the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's the bare minimum. So when you actually, we should get excited in the moment and have that moment. It's what being a football fan's all about. And listen, I can't tell anybody how to be a fan. Some people are like, no, I'm just calm, cool, collected. I'll judge this all in May next year. I'm going to judge all of this. I'm not even getting excited. And that's fine. But if you want to, after a shit season of traveling up and down the country to watch these players, traveling from country to country, and I speak for myself as I have, staying over longer in Bilbao like many other Reds did and all of this stuff. It's my right to express a little bit of elation that actually these are two flipping good players that we're going to get. Two good players that would have walked in and started at teams way better than us and teams that would have definitely liked to have had these players in their ranks, as we've seen from the interest that was shown in the two players. And that's just a fact. Argue with yourself if you're a rival fan and you don't like it. We don't care. Right, we've still got a lot to get through, actually. OA says, this reeks of a Pogba return. SK says, first, second, third news every day, saying striker on fourth. Joe Fleming says, Cunha can defo play up front, not as a false nine. And I think we've read all the super chats out as well. Likes wise, we're doing well, people. We're on 766. Let's get to 1,000, man. Let's keep pushing. We're about to sign Mbuemo, or a bid's going in imminently. Bruno Fernandes is staying. We're about to talk about Andre Onana as well, because there's some news there, and Sancho also could return, which obviously isn't. Don't smash a like for that, but yeah, there's a lot going on. Not that of says, what's your ideal central midfielder group given a smaller squad? Well, we need another one, so not what it is now. I need one badly. It's just so high on my priorities. It really is. I think we underestimate how much we need a controlling six. Right, Andre Onana, summer exit. I feel like this has been coming for a while. It hasn't worked out for Andre Onana. Let's be fair. It's time. Now, what sort of price could Man United get for him? Who could be in for him? Should this happen, let me know, because I, for far too long, have had it with the mistakes, have had it with the sort of breeding sort of chaos into the back line, confusion into the back line. It's evident. You can see it. We've bought him. We got hoodwinked from that Champions League final with Inter Milan against Manchester City, with all the press resistance stuff, with all the kicking with both feet. At the end of the day, your goalkeeper needs to be reliable at keeping the ball at the back of the net. Football's a simple game. It's been complicated by idiots. And to be honest, it hasn't worked. So it looks like Onana could be on his way out of the door at Man United. Let me know what you lot are saying. I mean, yeah, who's saying this? What's going on?
Yeah, so from the Mail, they're saying that Andre Onana is expected to leave Manchester United this summer. Again, no real... we're waiting for those Ornsteins, we're waiting for those Romanos, waiting for those Ben Jacobs, etc. to say this. But this is a sort of general overall feeling. And I tell you what, Tier 1 James, because I remember he said this. I mean, this was even before, I think, Europa League final. He was like, make no mistake, if you think that Ruben Amorim is happy with the goalkeeping situation, he's not. He's like, it might mean that they sell Bayern Deer because they can't sell Onana. And because the book value of Bayern Deer is relatively low, and with that they could get some money, and then they might have to spend 10 million on a goalkeeper, but they'd be willing to find someone for 10 million because, again, the feeling is Onana is that bad that it's just someone to compete, someone that's better than Bayern Deer and Onana. We'll go with that, even if they're in their mid-30s, and goalkeepers aren't that expensive as well. You can go get a goalkeeper for 10, 15 million. Maybe not your most amazing one, but better than what we've got. You can go find one for that amount. I mean, how much is Kelly going to Brentford for at the moment? It's ridiculous.
18 million.
18 million. He's a top goalkeeper. Of course, he would never go to us. But still, the point being is there are people you can get. So I think that, KG before, when he mentioned that goalkeeper is a priority position for him, I think that's exactly the same feeling within United. Onana might be staying at the club. You never know. But I don't think he'll be starting between the sticks before United next season. I think there is a serious intention to find someone else.
Do you think he'd stay if he's not starting? He's not number one. I think if he gets an inkling that he's not the number one anymore, again, just knowing his personality, I could be completely wrong. It's just my assumption. It's just my opinion. I feel like he'll go, my friend, no problem. I'll find a new club. I think he will. I don't know. I don't think he'd stay if they start saying we're going to bring this guy in to compete with you because we're not sure. I think he'd just go.
Maybe it depends on when we do bring in another keeper. If we bring in another goalkeeper, writing's on the wall, then like you said, maybe he might be like, all right, yeah, then no worries. I'll go. Yeah. That's fine, no issue. like someone mentioned there in the chat, I mean, Inter signed Jan Sommer for something like £6 million. Like to fight a goalkeeper.
There's opportunities to get
yeah,
good keepers.
we don't. I don't think we have to worry about money with this one. I think there is genuinely a feeling of, well, even if we don't get rid of Onana, we'll get rid of Bayern, and that'll be enough for us to find something or someone. Again, the bar is very, very low, and it might be a stopgap signing, or it might be a really good bit of business. But I just think, especially with how we've moved already, Cunha and Mbeumo, and they're, again, priority positions. They're looking to add goals into that team. They're also going to be looking at the other end of the pitch going, actually, defenders, we've got a lot of defenders. We've got young defenders coming through as well. Why are we not keeping clean sheets? There's a lot of errors in between the sticks, and enough's enough. The only problem with the Onana one might just be, again, book value. Who's going to be willing to pay the money to, so we don't take a loss on him? That might be the thing that kind of forces us to stay. But I think we'll get goalkeeper. I think goalkeeper.
Of some sort. Yeah. No, I agree. Joe Fleming says Rafinha was signed by Barca from Leeds, mate. Yeah, there you
from
go.
Leeds. How dare you? Leeds. Oh, look at Barca.
Barca, you're not serious, club. You're not serious, club.
In the mud. Yeah,
mate. We've got Eric Cantona from Leeds. PC Gaming Tech says, how is Bruno staying a positive? It's a major L for me. At the beginning of the show, we discussed why it could be a positive, why we think it is a positive in the end. But also, I get it, why you think it could be an L. I'm not going to say anyone who thinks it's a bad thing that he's staying is completely wrong. That's your opinion that you think, obviously, fair play. Obviously, we would have got about £100 million and you reinvest that. So it's about, well, essentially, we're going to be 100 million down now. But you're not just 100 million down, you've also kept a player who can give you things that can equate to 100 million pounds, which is, goals and assists. So it's like this, isn't it? It's like this. And the last one of today is Jadon Sancho. Owen, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so Jadon Sancho could possibly be coming back to Manchester United. I don't think there's any concern about him being moved on in the summer. But just a couple of days ago, it was Chelsea and Sancho talking over a contract. They want to keep him, but the wage structure, will he be willing to buy into that? Well, Jacob Steinberg, very in the know when it comes to Chelsea, is saying that Chelsea are weighing up a bid for Jamie Gittins and are increasingly likely to decide against signing Jadon Sancho on a permanent basis. If that is the case, of course, they would pay Manchester United £5 million to take him back. He's still got really no future at United, and the expectation would he still be going. But that easy move to Chelsea, which yesterday we were saying we think is going to happen, maybe it's not. I mean, this one, every day there's a twist and a turn in this one. One day it looks like Chelsea want to keep him, but he's going to have to sort of bend the knee a little bit. And then maybe he doesn't want to do that because, I did see that Chelsea were willing to offer him between 100 to sort of £125,000 a week. Obviously, his United deal is like 250. It's a big wage cut, but there'll be incentives. And also, it's probably the best club he can go to, given how his reputation has diminished over the last few years. But maybe he might decide he wants to try Europe or somewhere else. But if he wants to go to Europe, then he's not going to get 250k a week either.
Yeah, interesting there. Listen, Jamie Gittins is a young up-and-coming player who's doing well at Dortmund as well. Had a big injury early on as well. I think it was an ACL or something like that. But, was at City as well. So went from City's academy to Dortmund, followed the same thing that Sancho followed, the same route that Sancho followed. And he's doing really well. But yeah, Sancho, I don't know. I felt yesterday again, well, we can feel something one day and then all of a sudden it just changes. Yeah. I still feel that, I don't know, I think he'll stay there. But when you see that, I don't know, man. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they want to go for someone younger and fits into their wage structure more and start and this, that, and the other. But I just didn't see or don't see Sancho being too forceful with that. I don't know. This is my wage demands. If not, then I'm off because he's not going to get that anywhere else. He's not. Unless he's going to try and scumbag his way to another loan somewhere where Man United still got to pay most of it and do that for another year, which, to be fair, your agent could be telling you that, all right, you're not going to get that at Chelsea. Get a loan to bloody, I don't know, wherever. I don't know, off the top of my head. I don't know. Just get a loan to anywhere else.
You don't know?
I can't even think. Yeah, I can't even think. I can't even think. I'm like, AC Milan, no. Inter, no. I don't know. Yeah, get a loan to Porto. I don't know. Get a loan to Porto and bloody Man United will still have to pay you X amount and Porto have to pay you this. And maybe Porto's a bad example, but you get my sentiment of like...
Got a Galatasaray.
There you go. Something like that. And someone could say, his agents could be saying, Man United will still have to make sure they cover your wages. They definitely won't keep you here. They can't. So, let's wait and see on that one. Joe Fleming says, yeah, no, black mate. What was that you trying to get from Atletico? Trying to get Yano Black? Guys, it's been a massive show.
Huge show.
Massive show. So much going on. We've got 835 likes as well.
Get the 1K on the way out. There's still over 2K. There's still 2,100 people here.
Exactly. There's
even
so
less
many.
than half of you has to click the like button. Click the like button. Get to 1K likes. And apparently, I don't know if this is accurate, but I've heard, Flex, if you get to 1K likes, then Brian Mbeumo officially becomes Manchester United player. That's what I've heard.
And actually, whilst we're encouraging you guys to get to 1K likes on the way out, because we're now at 844, so I think you guys can do it, man. Just over about 100, 150 odd off. Come on, people, you can do it. The last one I want to talk about, someone said don't forget.
Did you want to talk about your great UV merch? Did you want to talk about your great UV merch that you can also get? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wearing here, and you're
wearing there. The hat is right there. My hoodie is too hot for a hoodie right now, so I've got them away. But there's t-shirts, there's jackets, there's hoodies, there's beanies. So you can get winter red. There is everything on there. The link is in the video description below. Is it pinned in the chat as well? I believe
it's pinned in the chat, or you can just scan that QR code right there. You know,
right there.
Yeah, you can get that.
It's right there. And guess what? With these new signings, guys, this is just the beginning of the UV merch.
Yeah. Designs. I know Josh is watching, scribbling down.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to have Mbuemo on the back and the real Mbeumo on the front. You know, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here.
There's going to be half Mbeumo face, half Fleck face, Fleck Mbeumo.
Oh, exactly. So get involved, man. There's a lot of stuff coming. And someone was reminding us about what Laurie Whitwell said, and the United District have gone with this. Laurie Whitwell hasn't actually tweeted it, but I'm assuming it's come from his podcast, because Dylan and the guys are very reliable in terms of what they put out. They fact check a lot of things. They wouldn't just make up something Laurie Whitwell said. So I'm assuming, because I have checked Laurie's tweets, but it hasn't. This isn't a tweet from him. I'm assuming it's from what's it called?
Talk of the
Devils. Talk of the Devils podcast. Sorry. So what it says is that Ruben Amorim remains a major admirer of Victor Gyökeres, although Victor Osimhen's expected wages had been seen as prohibitive. Man United could reevaluate now that the move for Liam Delap is off. So, I mean, it's basically saying, it was on the Athletic deal sheet. Fair play. It's saying don't give up on that. Like,
it's saying not impossible.
If there's a way, because let's be real, there has to be significant outgoings, and maybe they just maybe they say they get that big one and they say that's all we can do. Right, we'll have to go with the same midfield, the same back five, everything. We've got enough defenders.
Still, maybe do the goalkeeper one, because that's like a light 5.
Maybe they go a goalkeeper and go big for some form of striker.
Or maybe they feel like you said, with there's 2 signings that they've done, Cunha and Mbeumo, Bruno stay. Maybe they feel like, well, there's a bit of momentum with us here. Well, no, there's just like, like in terms of the convincing, they can go, because obviously with Gyökeres, no Champions League football, Osimhen, no Champions League football, but maybe they do sort of go, well, there feels like there's things happening. We've just had 2 people join us that didn't care about Champions League football, and people wanted there. Maybe that's enough to kind of convince, there's something happening a bit at United. They're making big moves, because that does count for something in the transfer windows, when you feel like, whoa, actually, they mean business. So, yeah, like you said, maybe it's not give up hope. I still think it's a long shot on both. I still think it's a very
definitely a long shot, because again, money, and not even just money. Victor Gyökeres wanting to come here, no Champions League, and I think Arsenal will get him. No, but aren't Arsenal more leaning towards Šeško? They're in this like, who will we get? Who will we get? You know what I mean? So we'll see. But the Mateta one, this hasn't really reared its head yet. But as this window carries on, this is only the first batch of window. This is the short little window before the main one actually opens. So
exactly,
it's crazy. We'll see. We shall see. Right, guys. Big up to each and every single one of you. Flex and KG show later on tonight at 7. The game says, guys, read Fabricio's post again. It says he wants to stay in Europe. Does that mean he's open to a team like Madrid or Bayern? Yeah, true. You could.
I don't think so. Lines, but I think they just mean geographically.
Yeah, I don't exactly.
I don't think
and those things have been shut down from a while ago as well. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Yeah, Flex and KG show later on. I know KG, Joe Blackman just put in there, KG's going to be live after the show. I don't know if that means 10:30 or literally now, but make sure you head over.
Be redirected.
Redirected over to KG's channel, and check out the Football Flex at some point today. Get your notifications on. There you go. The QR code is right there. Scan there and subscribe. Road to 15K. I'll probably do another video on there today as well. And if you haven't checked out, there was a video of me and Cam yesterday, and the latest video on Ange Postecoglou.
Oh, he wasn't happy, was he, Coach Cams? Oh,
yeah, he wasn't happy.
Yeah,
he wasn't happy. He's not Ruben Amorim's biggest fan at all. He wants him gone.
No, he's not.
And he hates how Kobe has been made to just be this outcast who looks like he doesn't fit in the system. So, yes, which, you know, some valid points. He makes some valid points. Right, guys, smash a like. On the way out, where did we get to? What did we do? 908. Come on, people. On the way out, let's do it. Take care. We're out of here. Peace.